financing, equity support, local risk insurance, leverage private sector financing. And we've seen DFC play an important role on the Free Seas Initiative, on recently at the White House Summit in Kosovo and Serbia, the DFC was present at the forefront. Let me ask you something, because I've been talking to a few business leaders in the last few days to prepare this conversation, and I had some interesting questions here. One of them is precisely about how connected DFC support is to government relations, and is the political support, the government support, a prerequisite for finance for funding, or can you come directly to support the private sector independently from that?
Sure. Sort of taking your question from the back end, always our intention and where we work is with the private sector. So, we want to finance private sector-led, private sector-managed investments. We do have, we are open to working, obviously, in PPPs, and we're even open to working with state-owned enterprises. However, when we do so, we're looking for the government to be the minority stakeholder, for the private sector rather, to be in the lead of those investments. That being said, it's very important from our perspective that we are engaged, as I mentioned in this case, through our State Department, with our embassy, with U.S. diplomacy, with our truly extraordinary ambassador in Greece, Jeffrey Pyatt and his team, and also with the governments. We're in this to support national development in a way that is consistent with and supports the goals of the countries themselves. So the answer to your question is yes. Our investments are with the private sector. However, is it important to us to work with the governments? Is it important for us to understand what the national priorities and strategic objectives of a country we're working on? Absolutely, and to be in consonant with that and supportive. And this is a global mandate.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you about the DFC in Greece, and I would say in the region beyond that. We've been talking about energy projects a lot today, obviously. What are the kind of energy projects you follow, you are interested in? And I also want to ask you, actually, beyond energy, what role DFC can play in Greece and in Southeast Europe?
Sure. So with regard to energy, look, where Greece is concerned, we are interested in everything that's been discussed today. We have been involved and are moving forward with a deal regarding the Elefsina shipyard, very strategic shipyard, with a very good American company, Onyx, that has a proven track record of turning another shipyard around in Greece. And so that was a priority for Greece. And it's a priority for us, and we're moving forward with that. We also are very focused on working with an American company that is bidding on in a consortium with Greek companies for Alexandroupolis and Kavala. I personally visited all three of those places. So those are all energy projects. The DFC, when it was created by Congress to work in primarily low income countries by the World Bank standards, lower middle income countries, and in a more restricted way in upper middle income countries. Greece, of course, is a high income country. Last year, at the conclusion of our Congress, a provision of law which was authored by Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat of Connecticut, was inserted, which gave us, as the Development Finance Corporation, the authority to work in energy-related projects in Europe and Eurasia, regardless of income. And so, with regard to Greece, our focus has to be on energy-related projects because that is our specific mandate in a high-income country like Greece. However, we are in neighboring countries where the income level gives us greater latitude. We're investing in across the board, including in telecommunications and all sorts of anything that is strategic. You mentioned the Three Seas Initiative. That identified, we think correctly and aligned with our own strategic objectives, three things: energy, interconnected infrastructure, and the digital economy. Those are all things that we're interested in. To the degree that Congress gives, that we either have the authority to work in a country because of its income level, or Congress gives us the authority, we want to be strategically involved in those things. We have right now for high income countries the latitude to work in energy related projects. We would hope that at some point Congress would give us the authority to move into the digital side as well, because it's very important to be able to provide a good, workable, solid alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned how the DFC was there to also have a more strategic vision, a more strategic approach to these issues, and I think it fits well with, on the Greece side, the bolstering of ties between the United States and Greece in the last few years, the good relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Mitsotakis, and spearheaded by Ambassador Pyatt, and the U.S. government support, general political support for the Three Seas Initiative since its inception, and the role that people like Ambassador Rieker, Ambassador Mosbacher in Poland are playing also in supporting this regional initiative. Let me ask you a little bit about so your relationship with the private sector. We obviously have a lot of business leaders who are following this closely. What do you expect from private companies when supporting them? The kind of commitment, what are you looking at when supporting the private sector?
Sure. I think that a lot of companies are familiar, for example, with the EBRD or the EIB or the IFC. There's a bunch of acronyms for you, but I think people know what those are. And the way we work is very similar to the way they work. We are looking for well-structured investments that, frankly, are going to turn a profit, that are going to be successful, that have a good chance of doing that. Perhaps we don't have a huge return on investment. We're not looking to make tons of money. We're willing perhaps to take a little more risk because that is our mandate. But we're looking for solid projects. The other thing is, and this is very important, is that we follow the IFC standards on environment and social impact. Mm-hmm. These are things that are important to us. They're important to us as a country like Greece that lives within the rule of law and democratic governance. And these are the things that we make sure that as we're making these investments that these high standards are met. I'll mention with regard to Elefsina that it's my understanding that part of the whole investment will be to take care of the workers. That's important. This is the kind of thing that it's not just about making a profit. It's about having an impact. It's about making sure that these investments actually benefit people and the country. And that is what we're about. And so those are the things that we look for. Those are the things that are important to us.
Well, having an impact. I think that it's a great way to conclude this conversation. I know that we are a few minutes beyond the allotted time. I just want to ask you, Caleb, if you want to add anything else before we close the conversation for our audience.
Look, I just want to thank you and thank everyone for the time, for giving us the opportunity to talk about this, and just to underscore how important we see Greece's role in the region is. The fact is, as you mentioned, we were involved in talks between Kosovo and Serbia about economic normalization. Bringing natural gas through Alexandroupolis and through Greece into the Balkans is going to be a very important part of energy independence and economic growth. Greece is a leader. They are our ally, and it is our intention to stand with our ally Greece. And so thank you for this opportunity.
All right, with these important words, thank you very much. And I'll turn back to Elias and our friends at the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Caleb and Ben, for this very enlightening conversation regarding the scope and goals of the